tell people, listen, you can come to New Orleans, but I need you to go to the river first. And when you go to the river, let her talk to you. She's gonna give you what you need.
It's the spirit of New Orleans. It's a place of meetings. It's a place of sharing stories and music. Music itself, conversation. And sometimes you have to say something, and sometimes you have to listen.
Oh, but I found I feel that ancestors, as well as the beautiful elders of the city, still speak to you. And once you can hear that, you're New Orleans, baby. Mahmoud, how are you? Hug, shake, Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I am well. Heard great things about you.
Doing great.
Music, excited to have this collaboration and birth something new.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
We should start by just talking about literally where we are right now. Tonya, could you tell us, like, this space? Like, where are we?
Currently, we're in the New Orleans Jazz Museum, once the U.S. Mint, where currency was held. It was restored to become the New Orleans Jazz Museum, which is also the repository for Louis Armstrong's trumpet. And this place holds so many secrets. I'm loving this case.
Yeah, traveling everywhere.
Let's do it.
And you both have done work in this space prior, but you've never met.
No.
We never met, actually.
No.
It's the first time.
No. We know some mutual people, but
Yeah.
here
It
we are.
didn't happen.
I know your uncle.
Yeah, he knows my Uncle Hurlin.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, out there, Lord 91.
Let's kind of rewind before we got to this space, before we got to New Orleans, just about each of your origin stories. So maybe, Mahmoud, just starting with you, kind of where you were born and where you grew up.
Yeah, actually, I'm born in Kenitra, in Morocco. Kenitra, it's a few miles from the capital, Rabat. But as soon as I born, so my family moved to north of Morocco, city of Laraish. That's where I started playing guitar and playing music when I was at the age of 7. And by the age of 9 or 10, I entered the National Conservatory. And then I studied classical music, like theory, and also classical guitar, who are very close to European music. Spanish or French or like British. So it was a lot of cultural festivals that I was invited to play. So it was also an opportunity to meet some famous guitarists that inspired me. I remember Jorge Cardoso from Argentina, who came to play guitar standing up, playing classical. And I remember I was struggling with the position of the guitar like this, classical, and they told him, there is another position so I can be, they told me, like, play the guitar as you like. And they said, like, wow, that's changed my...
Mahmoud, you came to New Orleans in 2015. What was your first impression of the city?
New Orleans for me was the Frenchman Street and Maison. And it's because of this moment I am here in New Orleans until now. Because as soon as I arrived, I saw Brian Seeger on the guitar. And playing, and like I was, that's the best music I ever hear in my life. And they said, like, I want to play this music. But also, I'm not here to play New Orleans music. I'm coming with my music, with my culture, to add something and collaborate with the music.
So Tonya, what about you? Where were you born?
I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, up the road, as I would say, and born a preacher's kid, still a preacher's daughter. My father was moved from Jackson, Mississippi, where he was pastoring, to Greenville, Mississippi. Stayed there for 8 years, and then here I am in New Orleans. So when I first moved here, I had that Mississippi twang dialect, and they say, "Oh, baby, you got to get off the porch."
People dance at the second line parade, whatever it is to you, call jazz.
I've always been into music and didn't get my first big break until 1998 with Jean Knight, who's from New Orleans, Mr. Big Stuff, as she would introduce herself to everybody. And she gave me an opportunity. I wrote and recorded her last album, Queen, which catapulted me to many opportunities from there.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Went on to perform on many stages around the world, which has always been a beautiful thing for me.
Tell me a little bit more about what it means to grow up musically in the church.
Ooh, wow.
The Lord has blessed me, and He's kept me.
So in church, I was always surrounded by music, right? Elders would sing and call on God in a way that was unknown to me. It wasn't until my grandmother began to break things down to me as a, in my teen years, like, you'll get it one day. And as an adult, those songs speak to me today.
So you were how old when you came to New Orleans?
11.
You were 11.
10,
Do you have
11.
memories of what the city felt like to you at that time?
I remember hearing Raymond Miles and the Rams. Something about the way they would sing. A whole brass band in church with a tuba, the boom, like, I want that. That shifted me there.
You, besides working as a musician, also work as a teacher,
Yes.
as an educator in
Yes.
schools. And there was a song of yours that I saw online. It's where at the beginning of the song, you start asking, what's the name of your school?
What's the name of your school?
That's the thing in New Orleans. When you tell somebody I'm from New Orleans, the first thing they ask you is, what school you went to?
Yeah, I heard that a lot. Yes. I heard that a lot. Yes.
It gives a bit of more of validity of you really being from New Orleans. And I kept hearing,
So let me pick up on that idea, proving that you're really from New Orleans, right? And this is a city, on the one hand, that is all about that, like who's from here. But it's also a city that historically and right now has been open to the world.
Yes.
And it's a city of newcomers,
yes.
right? It's both like kind of, insular and almost nativist on the one hand, but then on the other hand, totally open and progressive and welcoming. Did you feel that at all?
Here in New Orleans, I always feel that it's very open. But everyone who came to New Orleans put another spice to our gamble. So I bring a Moroccan spice here.
What about you, Tonya? What's your take on that idea?
New Orleans accepts you. I say New Orleans is a female, right? Because she's gone through so many storms, but still came back and thriving even more successfully. One of my homeboys was doing an interview and he talked about the purist and the tourist mindset. And you can visit the city And if you're coming with true intentions and authenticity of love and respect, it's the people that make this city what it is. And he's saying it's one thing to come and you're going to a second line just to take pictures. He said, but it's another thing you go to a second line and you immerse yourself into that culture. And so that's why I say she's a female, because what New Orleans does is she knows who's here for her. She knows who's here to care for her, give back, and also keep the spirit of this city alive. When we find that joy in music and trying to mold or fit our style into something that's already been molded, it doesn't work. It's just come and be yourself. When you bring that, that's reciprocated and respected even more than you're trying to sound like what's already being done.
One of the things that is a kind of through line in a lot of the conversations that I'm having with musicians across the country is not really about music at all, which is about the kind of current state of political division in the country, of huge divides and very little middle ground. And there's a tradition I was thinking about on this trip from New Orleans history of the dividers in some of the roads, which used to be called neutral ground, which were the places that segregated communities who weren't allowed to hang out together and leave their zones. It was the neutral ground where you could come and actually hang out and be together. There's very little neutral ground in the US right now. Has it had an impact on New Orleans life, that feeling of division?
I feel the division on the conversations, that like if you are not with me, like you are against me. So I think we are right. That's very sad.
I love you. I love you. Met this love, and he broke my heart.
Traveling everywhere and meeting people from all around. As soon as you play music, there is no politics at all. That's where like the art and the music serve as a bridge that's make people together.
The music becomes the neutral ground.
Exactly. I'm here to play music, to give you a moment of joy together and have a good moment.
When I perform, I'm in a position to move hearts, minds, and souls. I will not let anyone's agenda deter that. Yes!
That was awesome.
Okay, wait, I have questions. That was incredible. But this is what's so, I think, fascinating and important, right? Is that here you have two people who are distinct individuals with different experiences, different biographies, and you're having this conversation that requires each of you to remain in your distinctness and your difference while also finding ways to connect dots and come together. Could you just like walk me through a little bit, like what happens as you're playing, those decisions you make about when to kind of lay back and be quiet, when to speak up, when to solo, when not to solo? Because these are questions about ethics and about kind of compassion as much as they are about musical choices.
Yeah.
We speak the same language. So yeah, music, it's a universal language. So without saying any words, like we feel it. And sometimes you have to say something and sometimes you have to listen. And like with time when you're playing music and you get more the ability to know how to listen music than to play it.
I had to learn how to let music breathe. Being a church singer, we're always taught to sing in every space. It's what we call rubato, a meter. I love the Lord, He heard my cry. I there's no room for breathing. It's like singing every time in every measure in every note. And so having these unspoken conversations, like he'll look at me or I'll look at him, and it's like, no, keep going. I'm in it. Just keep going. I love what you're doing. So it's a chemistry.
Yeah.
It's your expression. Yeah. Just feel it and play it, and also the most important, share it.
Word tourist has come up a lot, right? And so when people come to New Orleans for tourism, at the heart of it is to experience Black music and Black expressive culture.
Yeah.
And the tourist industry around Black music in New Orleans it's in part what helps to sustain the city financially.
Absolutely.
And there is, I think we would all agree, a national love for Black music. There's not anybody in this country who isn't listening to something that's not connected back to Black music. It
Right.
is. And yet, just to use a refrain that is quite common, right? There is a love of Black music, but not a love of Black people
Yeah.
in the United States. There's always been a difference,
Yeah.
a gap between both the love, but also the economic exploitation of Black culture. And I feel that a lot here as well. I feel all the joy that's here, but I also feel those disparities and those gaps.
That's heart-wrenching. I know what it's like to be told, to be called the N-word by an old white man, just minding my business, and I'm walking out the store and was called an N-word. Where it came from, don't know. It didn't bother me that he called me that because I know who I am. What bothered me was the fact that you thought it was okay that you could freely say that. All I could be me is because everybody else is taken, right? It's enough. It's already enough hate in the world. It's already enough. Why add to it? You know? I'm a chosen vessel. I'm God's child. And so what I do is I just spread positivity and love. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep staying in that love.
نهار مشيتي دنيا دارت بيا خليتني وحدي بموت جاتني خبرك راك مشيتي عليا.
We came together under this idea of the crossfader, of that horizontal toggle on a mixing board that can take one song on input 1 and another song on input 2. They're totally different songs, and find a way to connect them to create something new without erasing either of them. But I just would love to know what this experience has been like with each other today, and if you have any reflections on it.
خليوها تمشي خليوها تمشي يلا يرحمها.
To be able to hear you actually singing your native language, the percussiveness of how you approached singing Let Her Go, what lish.
خليوها تمشي خليوها تمشي
Hello, ختمشي, hello,
ها
ha,
خليوها
hello,
خليوها تمشي.
hello, hello, ختمشي. I'm gonna get it.
وخا تعيش حياتها مرة أخرى عمرها.
As we were saying, church, your runs and riffs were beautiful.
I feel that's church. You can say that churchy.
Yeah, you can say that's church. Yep, that was straight church. That was, and then in church you would hear. Stay on the one. Then we'll go to the 3 chord. 4. Raise it. Never find no one like me. Yeah.
Yes. See you at the church.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. And so yeah. It's,